Hi, I'm 𝗲𝗀𝗱𝗻, your academic career advancement coach, and I'm checking in with you all today to let you know that July is BIPOC Mental Health Month. And you all know, most of you, that I am a licensed clinical psychologist in addition to being an academic career advancement coach. So anytime I get an opportunity to talk to you all about mental health and behavioral health, I am going to take full advantage of that. So as we think about mental health and BIPOC individuals, it's important for us to realize and recognize that mental health and wellness is something that we should all be aware of. And in fact, the World Health Organization says that without mental health, there is no health. So how can you be well if you are not feeling well mentally? So just take some time out and do a quick assessment of how you're feeling. Are you stressed? Are you anxious? You know, it's summer right now, and most of you are on summer break. And if you're an administrator or a faculty, you may be having a little bit of a break, but I'm sure you're still moving the institution forward. Even with that in mind, I like to recommend that you all take some mental breaks, right? So throughout the day, one of the things that you can do is schedule space between your meetings. One of the former presidents of the universities that I was working with, who mentored me, recommended that I schedule lunchtime into my calendar because she wanted to have lunch with me, and she noticed that my schedule was completely full, and she asked me, do you have any break time in here? When are you going to lunch? You know, you need to take care of yourself. And I said to her, well, you know, I'm so busy. At that time I was a department chair, so it was a bit difficult for me to schedule in breaks. And she said that was completely unacceptable. And not only did I need to have lunchtime, even though it didn't have to be a standing lunchtime due to all of the meetings that we had to attend to, she said, you know, put some time in your schedule for at least a 30-minute time away where you can close your door. If you can take a walk, that's fine too. But these back-to-back meetings will get you to burn out really quickly. She was like, the university will be here even when you take your lunch break. So I took that to heart and I started doing that. So what I would like for you all to do, whether you're a staff, faculty, administrator, or even students, yes, please take breaks. You gotta, you know, feed yourself, get some fuel inside of you. You want to take some mental breaks where you're just taking a breath. You know, I did a podcast not too long ago about just breathe. So today, do more than just breathe, right? Schedule those breaks in. And we've heard a lot about self-care. And what I want you all to be thinking about in terms of self-care is that it's not a luxury. It's something that you should be doing. And it doesn't always have to be going to the spa or getting a massage. Those things are fine, or whatever your thing is to sort of unwind. But self-care is really about making yourself a priority. And so I was talking earlier about lunch breaks, right? Are you packing your lunch? Are you making your lunch? Are you grabbing something, you know, that is a quick thing that may not be the healthiest for you just because of time's sake? I get it. You know, I know how it is to be a busy working individual and you don't always have time to plan meals, but try to think about that, right? Think about the nourishment that you're putting in your body in terms of food, and take some time out just to have a healthy planned meal at least once a day, because that is about self-care. Self-care is also making sure that you are not overworking yourself, right? So many of us who are, the Black or indigenous populations, people of colors, we're always grinding, right? We know so much about the grind culture, and the grind culture will grind you down and take you out. And we want you to be here, right? So take a break from grinding when you can and just relax, right? I know you're probably saying, look, Loren, how do I do that? Or when is that possible? But if you take a moment to look over your schedule to see where you can put some breaks in, maybe it's getting up earlier in the morning before anybody else in the house does, and just taking a slow stroll around the house when it's quiet. I know I like to do that. I even will go out into the backyard before anybody in the house is up. Of course, the dog sees me and is like, yeah, I'm coming with you too. But still, before everything gets moving, that might be a good time to just have some quiet time and reflect. Another time might be, perhaps midday when things are a little quiet around the office, not too much is going on. You might be between classes or meetings. You can close the door and just relax a bit. Or it might be the end of the day when you're home, right before you're going to bed. Maybe you can just take a few minutes to reflect and wind down. Another tip that I got some years ago about, I was used to be the kind that would come barreling into the office and start, put my purse and my bag down and just start immediately. And then when the day was over, I was still like typing up emails as I'm walking out the door. And I look back on that time now, and I know that that wasn't really the best way to kind of start the day or end the day. So one of the suggestions that I can't even remember who gave it to me or how I came across it was to just lean into the day, right? So you get to the office, maybe you get there 5 minutes before your actual start time, you unpack your work bag, put your lunch in your refrigerator, and then you just ease into your seat and you start your day being mindful about how you're moving through that day and being very intentional. Then at the end of the day, I would take 15 minutes to wind down, right? So if I knew that I was leaving at 4:30, then at 4:15, I was already starting to wrap things up, right? That final email was sent off, whatever types of things I needed to put into place to exit the day or end my workday, I was already doing that, so that by 4:30 or 5 or whatever the time was, I was moving out of that space very intentionally and knowing that I had essentially like closed the day down. And so those are, a couple of suggestions. I've had some friends and colleagues who will, if they're, taking a car to or from work, then they would maybe sit in the car for a few minutes just to kind of think about the day, either starting it or finishing it. So there are, a number of different ways in which you can be intentional and be mindful and just kind of slow down a little bit and take in what's going on, because oftentimes we're going through the day and it is just a blur, right? You can ask me, well, what happened yesterday? And I'm like, I don't even remember yesterday or the day before. But if we are intentional and slowing down and a little bit mindful, you will probably find it to be a little more relaxing, right? There's no quick fix to any of this. These are just some tips that will help you and your mental health and your mental wellness. And I definitely welcome any suggestions that you all have. So thinking about your nourishment, thinking about the time and how you're spending it, being intentional with self-care, putting yourself first. And then something that I have been working on all this year actually is really trying to spend more time being joyful and finding joy. And although I'm a clinical psychologist and I've been doing this quite some time, when I was talking to one of my friends and she was like, "Oh, you know what, Loren, I know what's missing from my life. It's like I'm not experiencing joy." And I was like, "Oh, joy. Okay, I know the emotions, but wait, do I need to look that up again?" And I actually did because I thought, maybe that's what I'm missing as well. And so, you know, you will have to define what brings you joy, but I can guarantee you that if you seek something joyful, it will enrich you immensely. Your mental health will benefit from it. Your work life will benefit from it, your family life, your interpersonal life. And so, one of the things that those of you who see me on the YouTube channel will notice that I always have some type of flower or bouquet in the background. And flower arrangements bring me joy. I just love them. I love being out in nature and actually picked up some flowers the other day when we were at the farmer's market and came home and just, putting this arrangement together. It's a simple one, but I just love looking at it, right? So engaging with flowers and plants brings me a lot of joy. And there are other things as well, but I just really want you all to know that joy can come in small packages. And one of the ways to be mindful and enrich your mental health and mental well-being is increasing the joy factor in your life. So hopefully those tips will help. And, while you're on your summer break or vacation or between classes, or even just sitting outside in this lovely weather that we have during the summer months, I hope that these tips will be helpful to you, and we will be looking at some meatier things, in the coming months. But for July, I thought we'd just take a light summer break and appreciate our mental health and mental wellness, and want to definitely, remind you all that July is BIPOC mental health month. And so if you are, or if you have any friends or families or loved ones who are in, the BIPOC community, please do check in with them and make sure they're doing okay, because a lot of times we aren't doing so well. We don't always know how to talk about it. And we are grinding, we're dealing with all kinds of, seeming and true assaults, and it can really, really wear us down. So please do take care of yourself, take care of your friends and family and loved one, take care of your communities. And, if you're an ally out there, we definitely need your support. So thanks again for listening, and enjoy your summer July.